We're here today to do the State of the County's address. We've got Judge Emmett. Unfortunately, they never give me the opportunity to intro him. Maybe one year they'll give me that opportunity. But I'll wait patiently. You know, as County Judge Mark Henry was elected in 2010, took office January 2011. We had a lot of work to do, and we were able to work together, putting our shoulders to the plow, if you will, to move county government forward. And the way we were able to do that was by cutting expenses and lowering the tax rate. We've lowered the tax rate for 5 years in a row and anticipating lowering the tax rate again this year for the 6th year in a row by over $0.015 this year alone. So we're excited about that record, and he is ever diligent in looking for ways to save money, create efficiencies in county government, while we reallocate funds in areas that are needed through input through staff and through the public, and in trying to create efficiencies. And one of the issues that we're working towards this legislative session is to revamp the public notice legislation that is going to be coming through the interim report through the legislature that could save county governments, municipal governments, and all taxing jurisdictions hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So when you see that come through the legislature, please put your name behind that and move forward. I would like, you've got Judge Henry's bio here, so I'm not going to go over that. I would just like to mention that he does have 2 lovely twin daughters that are the love of his life, and that's his favorite hobby now, taking care of them. He also has, as you'll read in the program here, he's got a microbrewery. If you get a chance, check it out. He's got some really great brews there over on FM 3438. Is that the right road? 3436. Check those out. He'd love to see a good opportunity to visit about county politics and county issues at the brewery. He said I could only talk about those things that are factual, and so I wanted to bring those points up. And with that, please join me in welcoming County Judge Mark Henry.
You just never know with Commissioner Clark, which is why I'm always terrified of him introducing me. Well, I saw on Facebook, and of course everything on Facebook is true, that Judge Emmett just had a birthday on Sunday. So I would like to everybody welcome or say happy birthday to Judge Emmett. And according to Facebook, he is 38 years old. Galveston County is doing really well, actually. A couple of things that we've done from Commissioner's Court to help with economic development. As the Commissioner stated, we're going to pass our 6th straight tax reduction, probably mid-September at the latest. We've also reduced the county debt. This is a big deal for me, by 32% since I got elected. When I got elected, we had the 2nd highest debt per capita of any county in the state of Texas. We are now about the middle of the pack. We went from $1,180 per citizen to $620 per citizen in the course of 5 years, and that was not easy. We've seen we've seen some reduction in county employees, and I think that's really significant. I heard Michael Berry railing rhetorically one day, when have you ever heard of a government getting smaller? I can tell you, Galveston County, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015. So Michael Berry fans out there, by the way, how many of you want to hear me on Michael Berry next week? Okay, call him and tell him to have me on the show, and then we can all hear me on Michael Berry next week. Our county has grown significantly. I told KTRK last week, my guess is we have about 20% of the residents of Galveston County have never been here for a hurricane. And that's of great concern for us in the hurricane business. For those of you who don't know, we've got some disturbances off of out in the Atlantic we'll be watching. So the growth is significant, which also creates some other challenges, one of which is letting them be aware a hurricane is not a time to throw a party. It's a time to make sure you've got gas in your tank and your prescription medications refilled. We've done some other significant improvements in economic development. One is we have a Cabela's on I-45. We're up near 646. How many of you have not been to Cabela's yet? See, very few people are willing to admit they've not been to Cabela's yet. It's the only one in the Houston area, and I, as a firearm enthusiast, I've got to tell you, they've got a tremendous selection of firearms including what I think they call the private locker or something like that, where they've got some really vintage guns. I saw a 1929 Smith & Wesson that there's no way I could afford, but it's really nice. The healthcare industry has started paying a lot of attention to Galveston County. We have MD Anderson opening up a clinic in partnership with UTMB at Victory Lakes. I think that's on the books for later this year, early next year. In addition, we have Memorial Hermann, who will start building out a campus in the same general area, I-45 in the League City area. UTMB continues to do great down on the island. If you're not aware, they have a level 4 biohazard facility down there. To take a tour is somewhat scary, but totally impressive. That's just where they build and then try to be able to treat really bad diseases. It's a very well-constructed facility. I was certainly impressed, and it's a great asset for the county. I'm going to kind of skip over road projects, because if I told you everything that was going on, you wouldn't come to our Transportation Summit next September the 1st in Texas City. And I'd like to thank Dr. Bix Rathburn for spearheading the, where is Doc? There he is. I call him Doctor because he didn't like that. So Dr. Bix Rathburn, our Economic Development Director, has put together this Transportation Summit. It's going to be a great event. Fairly much all day, speakers from the state, local, and private entities talking about transportation specific to Galveston County. I'd like to bring you up to speed on the Pelican Island Bridge. It's the little small island to the north, I guess, of Galveston Island. It's where Texas A&M Galveston resides. We are doing our best to build a vehicular and rail bridge to Pelican Island. It is the largest landmass with access to deep water and no real development anywhere in the United States that we're able to find. So we think that'll be a real game changer for the county. It will spur tremendous growth and lots of good paying jobs. These are not retail and visitor kind of jobs. These are good paying transportation industry type jobs. So Commissioner Dinner's here. He's put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. He'll be leaving us in January, but thank you, Commissioner Dinner, for all that you've done on that, and we will hopefully finish it off after you're done sometime. Economic development, Highway 6. Here we know where Highway 6 is. Kind of goes down Santa Fe in that area. We scored a real success with a company located there, now I guess it's last year, called RedGuard. RedGuard makes these industrial manufacturing facilities that are outdoor, not explosion proof, but explosion resistant. What RedGuard did was they got a good deal in Galveston County, I can tell you that. But they also put us on the map for site selectors because they started saying, Hitchcock, where's Hitchcock? Never heard of it. So we said, well, it's just a place where you can get land for about 40 to 50 cents a square foot with close access to rail, water, and interstate. I mean, if you're interested in that kind of stuff. To which they all said, we'll be down to see you soon. And as I've said before, I have signed more non-disclosure agreements in the last year than I had in the previous 5 years as county judge. We have got a lot of interest and a lot of opportunity, a lot of things to offer in Hitchcock. I can't talk about this too much without sounding like I'm bragging, so I'm going to talk quietly. The Port of Galveston is the second we've finished the second big cruise ship terminal. We're now the fourth largest passenger cruise terminal in the country. We will embark almost 1 million passengers in 2017. So it is impressive. Sorry, Judge Emmett. Earlier this year, we also became the location for BMW's new Ro-Ro facility. They will import approximately 30,000 cars a year off of this new Ro-Ro facility in the Port of Galveston. Port of Texas City continues to do great. They are one of the most tenacious quarters of industry I've ever seen. When we go into a meeting with Mayor Doyle and representatives of Texas City, we know that we're there with decision makers that are serious about bringing business to Texas City. We're always glad to be there because they are short and extremely productive meetings. So they are looking at a new crude export facility. It's taking development. They also have a fairly significant piece of land that has been undeveloped and has tremendous access to deep water. So we're excited about the possibilities in Texas City. Got a couple of downtown revitalization efforts. Both Friendswood and League City are looking at implementing plans that they have conceptualized and passed to revitalize downtown. Unbeknownst to me, well, actually not, League City is a fairly old community. This is where I live, by the way, so I'm going to brag on my city for a moment. League City's been around for 100 years or so, and one of my administrative assistants' family has been in League City since 1938, and that exceeds the most current person I knew by about 20 years. Finally, the Storm Surge District. Everybody's heard of the Gulf Coast Community Protection Recovery District. Judge Emmett and I are on the board, and so is Vic Pearson, but I can't always remember the name. We just call it the Surge District. We released our Phase 3 study on June 22nd of this year. It is a great concept. There are some details to be worked out, but conceptually we're on board with how to protect the entire region from storm surge, which is of vital interest not only to the region, but to the country. The assets that deliver goods and services throughout the United States that will be protected by this district are tremendous. They're almost hard to calculate. And I mean that because I thought we were done on June 22nd when we finished the Phase 3. They said, you did a good job, could you do a Phase 4 for us and continue to study the benefits of this the storm surge system. So we had no choice. Of course we said yes, and we're going to finish Phase 4 January. Is that when Phase 4 is finished? January. So we have a tremendous opportunity there during one of our budget hearings, but it's budget time now in the county, so we have no friends on Commissioner's Court. But someone was talking about the Texas City levee system, which is a tremendous engineering feat and a great protection. They said we can never not maintain it. And I said, well, actually, there's a chance we could stop maintaining it. We've asked the question, if this storm surge system is put into place, may we stop maintaining the levee system? We don't have an answer yet, so I'm not going to be optimistic about whether it's a yes or a no. And while I'm not going to talk about roads for the most part, I will say that I'm very pleased to announce we have finally gotten TxDOT approval and funding to elevate Highway 87. For those of you who don't know where Highway 87 is, it's the Bolivar Peninsula main road that floods during a high tide. So with one portion flooded and the other portion only served by a ferry, in the past 2 years, I believe I've called for 3 voluntary evacuations because we knew there'd be water over Highway 87. And TxDOT, up until this year, had been very nice. They said, you can raise it, we'll let you. It's a state road, right? And this year they finally said, we think that that's our responsibility. We said, we completely agree with you. So we will be glad to partner with you. But we are very anxious about the chance to finally raise State Highway 87 and give them a guaranteed evacuation route. Tonight, which was before my time, the evacuation was ordered. Many people ignored it. When they decided, ooh, that was probably a bad idea, they couldn't get out by Highway 87. It was flooded too bad. So many of them being about 12 or 13, lost their lives because they didn't heed the evacuation warning and weren't able to get out when the tide came. Because the ferry's going to shut down at some point, so then that would become your own evacuation route. So I was planning on ending on a high note, but I guess I didn't do that. So I will pass this off to Commissioner Jack Mormon, who says I'm his second favorite county judge. I'm scared to ask who his favorite is because I might get him in trouble, but Commissioner Mormon.